I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending September the 23rd. We kind of come back to reality here on this last week. After the previous week was kind of a rally mirage there, we thought that we were in a bearish picture leading into this fall, and most of us were kind of convinced, and me being one of them, that we were going to go down under $1 on cash fat cattle and continue in this kind of sell-off mode that we were in. But then the week previous to this last one, the board was up big and on low open interest, and a lot of these shorts getting out of the market, which they was having to buy in to get out, which was making the market kind of artificially go up, even though it was, and it caused packers to have to come in and pay $5 more for fats. And then, even though the fundamentals didn't look any better, it seemed like maybe we were going to be in for a pretty nice little rally here going. But this last week kind of brought us back to reality, and now we're right back where we were before, thinking that there's just not a whole lot of fundamental indicators to make us think that this thing's going to get any better. And the technical indicators don't ring true, so you can't really put any faith in them either. But you look at the board this past week, live cattle on Monday was up 25 cents, Tuesday down 22 cents, Wednesday was up 87, Thursday down $1.47, and Friday up just 20 cents. To end the week at 107.27 on the October contract, which was down just 60 cents, so really not bad at all. Feeder cattle on the October there, Monday was down 17, Tuesday down 65, Wednesday was up $1.10, Thursday up 7 cents, and Friday up another 7 cents to end the week at 132.37 on the October, which was down just 58 cents. So really just minimal losses on the board on both live and feeder cattle, but it was very bearish signal to your fat cattle market. And fats really struggled to have any trade all week long, didn't sell any cattle hardly to speak of until Friday. And if you looked at the government market reporting of your fat cattle sales there, they really couldn't get anybody to talk to them to tell them that they had sold their cattle that much lower. So it was just coming in through mandatory price reporting, with cash sales scattered out about 106, but that's what your market is at 106. Not real sure how much traded where. The Southern Plains trade seemed to be very light, but the packers are really going to back up, and that's one way they're going to try to stir a rally in this box beef market, is by cutting kills. And that's the way they got away from that little short rally we had in the cash fat cattle market, was to back off buying any negotiated cattle, and they got that done. They got it pulled back $4 lower than the previous week at 106 on the few live sales that were reported. Dress market was $2 to $5 lower, from 165 to 168. But you look at the box beef cutout values, the choice on the average of last week's trade was exactly the same as the previous week's trade, which is very rare. You don't see that very often. On an average week's trade at 186.48 on a choice cutout carcass, and on selects was down just 54 cents at 179.47. So really not that bad there. We're expecting to see a little bit of an increase in your market on box beef cutout values going through. You normally see that through the early part of the fall there. So we hope to see some of that turn around. And like I said, the packers are going to pull the kills back to try to stir a rally in this box beef cutout value market there. And you look at the slaughter last week, they did shut it down. And we've had a lot of cooler cleanings and some repairs being done in some of your major packing houses, and this time of the year, and had some this last week, and about every week or so we'll see a few of that happening, which doesn't hurt their feelings at all to back off on the kill a little bit, to try to spark a little bit of things going on in your dressed meat market, and keep them from having to buy so many negotiated cattle. But last week's slaughter ended up for the week 592,000. That's the first week that we haven't killed over 600,000 in several weeks. And that 600,000 seemed like a lot, especially a year ago, as we didn't have that many that big of a slaughter for a long time, but we've been up over 600,000 for several weeks, but backed off from that this past week at 592, which was 12,000 smaller than the previous week's kill, but still 18,000 more than the same week a year ago. You look at cattle on feed report come out on Friday there. Not a whole lot there. You know, it could be pretty neutral. It could be a little bit bearish there on your placements, but you look at the actuals come out on feed September the 1st was 101%, really up 1.5%, but that's just about exactly what the estimates were. Placements come in a little bit heavier than what everybody thought, about 2% heavier than the average analyst guess at 115. So that's up quite a bit, but you just think there's that many more cattle being put on than you think back a year ago when our numbers were really at their tightest point. But marketings are very, very good with 2 more slaughter days there at 118% of a year ago, and that's exactly what the analysts had predicted it would be. But we're really unsure. We got a little boost in morale there, thinking that well, because China come out and said they haven't done anything yet, but they did say that they would be willing to start taking U.S. meat again. But then also you got reports of us sending or taking in more meat, most notably from Brazil. So that's probably a wash right there. If we could really get in that China market and start moving a lot of product to them, it would make a difference. But that just seems to be a pretty big wall to climb. At TPP trade agreement that really both Hillary and Trump are against, because there's so many other things that it's not good at. It would be good for the beef market as it would enable us to start selling meat to China relatively easy and quicker, but it doesn't seem like that trade agreement's going to go through, so we probably can't count on that. But you look at your cash feeder cattle market, it opened the week $2 to $5 higher, really had a big rally on Wednesday, and almost all your major sales on Wednesday there, they traded dollars and dollars higher. Your biggest ones mostly $3 to $7 higher. But this calf market is really not very whippy, especially on these new crop unweaned ballers there. They're trading from week to $3 lower, and you especially see that in the southeast because they're just not really getting aggressive and ordering those southeastern calves to bring further west. Look at your CME cash feeder cattle index come out on Friday through Thursday sales at 136.10. Real-time index on Cattle Market Central that come all the way through the weekend, including Saturday sales that are reported with us at 134.89. Look at an individual quote on Cattle Market Central, South Coffeyville, Oklahoma. On Friday afternoon around 3:15, sold a mixed load of steers, really oaky type cattle, but a really good test of the market. You know, not any of these real fancy highs that you see reported around and not junk, but a big string of just good oaky type feeding cattle, mixed colored steers there. 113 head of them, weighed 849 at 132.10. So that wraps up your weekly summary here from my home office with DV Auction in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.